よーし、ホームズ、本番だ。この訓練ではお前とエイデンの実戦における能力を試す。目標はシンプルだ。エイデンと協力しコースを進みながら脱出を図る。頭を使い冷静に行動しろ。 DPA のお偉いさん方がお前たちだけのために作った訓練所なんだ。期待を裏切るな。俺はコントロール室で状況を追う。頑張れよ、新入り。おい、ジョディ、見せてやれ。
やってエイデン。 反対側からドアを開けて。
驚いたぞジョーディ。能力は知ってたが、にしてもこんなにも簡単に。次は別のコースを見つけよう。もっと難しいの。ほんとよくやった。お前もだエイデン、期待以上の結果だったぜ。おい。
さん。
ジョディ今どこだ？
奴らが。
なんだってジョディ、何があった？
疲れたの。すごく疲れた。
今どこにいるんだ？すぐに迎えに行くよ、ジョディ。
これ以上無理。生まれてからずっと霊体と一緒にいるの。
いや。
ジョディ、大人だって勘違いすることはあるわ。
あんたは
ジョディ、
この世に戻ってきた気分は？
エイデンっていう霊体でいつもそばにいる。
一体何をしたんだ？スーザン、もう限界だ。俺たちが何かされる前に。
置いてかないで。
バケバラめ、聞こえるか、このバケバラめ。終わったんだ、終わったんだよ。じゃあ集中して。
人に言えないようなことをしたの。嘘をついたの。仕事のために私を利用した。いい、もう私のことは放っといて。じゃなきゃ次は皆殺しにする。きっとなんとかなる。もうギブアップ。
Go ahead, take a seat. Can you give me your name and your age, please?
My name is Mary Smith. I'm 24.
Have you ever taken any acting lessons, Mary?
Not really. I couldn't afford it, but I watch a lot of films and I learned so much by watching them.
Have you shot anything recently?
I've had a few bit parts, little things here and there, nothing very serious for the moment. I'm always too tall, too short, wrong hair. There's always something wrong with me.
Okay, have you learned your lines?
Yes.
Let's get started. Mark it, please.
Casting Heavy Rain, actress Mary Smith, take one.
And action.
The first time I saw you, I knew you were the one. I thought these things only happened in the movies, you know? The pounding heart, the sweaty hands, and the shaky legs. I was coming out of the theater, and it started pouring heavy rain, so there I was, soaking wet, teeth chattering, freezing cold, and then you came up to me. You looked at me straight in the eyes, and you said, "Need an umbrella, miss?" You sent me flowers for weeks, and you said you'd love me forever. 3 months later, we were getting married. God, it sounds so stupid. It's such a corny romance. But real life never ends up being what you think it's going to be. You think it's going to be one big happy fairy tale. And then one day you wake up in an average little house, leading an average little life, and your real dreams are about paying the bills and maybe someday getting a bigger TV. And you realize that maybe that wasn't the life you were dreaming of. You realize maybe things could have been different. And maybe I actually could have lived with all that, but then one day it all just stops. Starts with something small. A little lipstick on a collar. A few nights where you come home a bit late. At first I tell myself that I'm crazy, that you would never do such a thing. But just to ease my mind, one night I follow you as you leave the office. I follow you to the CD hotel where you meet the girl. And then my whole world falls apart. I come home and I cry for hours in my kitchen. I get the gun from the drawer in the bedroom and I tell myself that if this is all that life has to offer me, then I can do without. But then I change my mind. After all, I'm not the one who's cheating. So, quietly, I wait for you to come home, sitting in my average little kitchen. Obviously, when you get home, you don't suspect a thing, so I press the fucking gun against your forehead and I take a few seconds to watch the fear grow in your eyes. You tell yourself, she won't do it, she doesn't have the guts, she's just trying to teach me a lesson. But you are so wrong, honey. I sentence you to death for turning my life into a soap opera cliche, for stepping on my dreams, for not giving a shit about me all those years, and for lying to me and betraying me and humiliating me. I'm making an example out of you for all the assholes out there who think they can keep on fucking us over and over. Goodbye, my love. So, how was it?
Very nice, very nice.
You think I might stand a chance?
Someone will get in touch with you and let you know.
She wasn't too bad, huh?
Doesn't matter, she's too tall for the part. Next!
こえるかい？
はい。
ID を。
KPC897504C。
頭を動かして。次は目を。ケーブとレンズの動作は異常なし。次は初期起動メッセージを。
こんにちは。私は AX400 アンドロイド。料理に選択、子育て、家事全般、スケジュール管理、300以上の言語に精通し、夜の営みにも対応します。食事も充電もいりません。装備されたバッテリー持続時間は173年間。私の名前は？
ああ、今日から君はカーラだ。
私はカーラ。
初期化とメモリーは異常なし。腕を動かして。関節機能 OK。 ドイツ語で喋って。
Ich bin ein AX400 Android dritter Generation, erschaffen als Ihr persönlicher Assistent und intimer Beziehungspartner.
フランス語で。
Je suis un androïde de troisième génération AX400, conçu pour être votre assistante personnelle et votre partenaire intime.
OK。 じゃあ日本語で歌ってみて。多言語発生機能も異常なし。じゃあ歩いてみて。移動制御も正常。よし、問題なしだな。
これからどうなるの？
また初期化されて店で売られる。
売られる？じゃあ私は商品ってこと？
ああ、もちろん君は商品だ。ほら、手も足もついている何でもできる万能コンピューターさ。当然値段も高い。
そう、でもてっきり。
てっきり？てっきりなんだ？
てっきり生きてるって。
おい、なんなんだ、勘弁してくれよ。メモリ部分の異常が多すぎる。録音開始。不良品発生。解体して問題部分をチェックする。
不良品ってどういうこと？
思考なんかあるはずないんだ。心があっちゃいけないんだよ。パーツの不良かソフトウェアの問題かな。
私不良品なんかじゃない。ねえ信じて、問題なんかないわ。質問にもちゃんと答えたでしょ。
ああ、でも行動に異常がある。
ねえお願いだから解体しないで。
悪いなカーラ。不良品は排除するのがルールなんだよ。後でクレームが来たりしたら困るのは俺だから。
言われたことはやるからお願い。仕事もちゃんとするし、何も言わないから考えたりもしない。まだ生まれたばかりなの。許さないで。やめて、お願いだから。怖いの。生きていたい。お願い。
ほら、早く移動して。 目立つなよ。面倒はごめんだ。
ありがとう。
まったく。
I was confronted with the loss of someone in my family close to me, and it was really a shocking experience. I wanted to tell a different story and not talk about death the usual way, I would say, but really deal with death as a physical reality and that can be explained.
David Cage's vision is always one that is innovative and highly challenging. So each time we start out on a project, we see those giant mountains in front of us and think, oh my God, how are we going to do that?
It took about a year to write Beyond. It was really challenging a collaboration because David is really passionate about writing and he always wants to push the envelope.
You know, the concept is huge and there's, you know, incredible action sequences and locations all over the world, but there's also this like beautiful drama within.
One of the challenges of doing this is because the player participates in the scenario, the possibilities of where the story goes is fantastic.
We ended up with 2,000 pages document and we realized we had a very big project in our hands that would be very challenging to produce.
It was a journey, right? Writing Beyond was a journey by itself.
I like being around interesting people that are really innovators and are passionate about what they're doing. And I had that sense in how they approached me and what I saw in the design and how they were talking about how they wanted to shoot.
It was strange because it felt so foreign to me, because it sort of felt like jumping off a cliff a little bit. Maybe that's just what I did. I just sort of jumped, I guess.
It was exciting. You know, it was exciting in the sense that it was unusual for me. Everything was so unusual. I'm a true gamer. When I got the call that I was going to meet David, I was beside myself. When a project is someone's baby and they put so much time and so much heart into it, you really see it. And this is such a developed story, and this is going to make you feel and have emotion and go through a journey. So it's something I really want to get into.
I think that's the other thing that's so exciting about this game is this female protagonist, not a female protagonist who's like, sorry guys, like has like big boobs and a tank top, you know, and is like running around with a gun. And I feel grateful that I can be involved with playing this female protagonist in this video game.
It was really important amount of pages to shoot. In films, usually they shoot about 2 to 3 minutes a day. We had to shoot above 20 minutes.
It's been shockingly emotional. You just don't stop. You just go and go and go and go. I've kind of really enjoyed that experience. It's been like weirdly kind of freeing.
You walk by the performance capture space and it looks so tiny. And you look at that and you say, my God, all that stuff happened in that space today. When I say happened, it happened in your imagination and it happened in your intention. But it's a powerful feeling.
It's so amazing that this is what I'm getting to do. I can't sleep at night. I go home and I'm just so excited that I'm coming back tomorrow.
There's an aspect of motion capture that really skips to the chase and gets down to something very basic about performing. Go back to bed.
With Anne and Willem, it's really like driving a Ferrari in a way. You need to be very precise as the pilot because whatever you ask the car to do, you will get it. But because they're so talented, they will give you something that will be fully consistent with the character and that will really bring something that you didn't think of.
The pleasure for me as an actor is not interpreting something. It really is serving someone's vision and then making it my vision. And David, you know, is pretty inspiring.
David's awesome to work for. I don't think I realized when I signed up for it just like how much of an incredible experience this was going to be as an actor. I mean, I really have nothing other than unbelievable respect for what he's doing, and just for whatever reason, totally just trust him, and just every day, just sort of go for it.
Both Alan and William came on set with a lot of respect for the project. They really wanted to do the best possible job they could just to serve the project and serve the vision, and I think it's going to make the game much better.
PlayStation.
We spent an incredible amount of work on set and character design, because every single detail is crucial to tell this engrossing story. The sets and characters are very diverse, and the story stretches over 15 years. So the challenge for us was to achieve this diversity while keeping an organic look to it all, a visual coherence that makes everything fit together.
So we start with a script. It's a really huge Bible describing all the location, the characters, and action sequence. We've done some mood boards. It's a kind of mix between many references. It could be picture, drawing, concept art.
The artist's concept must give substance to ideas, and our objective is to give everyone a common document that we will share. There is a first shield that I did like this, and then I made many variations to show how it could react to effects.
We grab many pictures, and after that we create what we call pack design. A pack design is a kind of Bible linked to one sequence, one location, on one main character. The 3D production is starting from this point, and we can produce internally by the Quantic Dream graphic team, but also with some outsourcing partners. On Beyond, it's quite challenging to design characters because they are based on famous actors.
So as to really recognize their faces and their profiles, we use a thorough technical process with complete body scan, higher detailed scans for the face, and a photo shoot which is very precise to have all textures and skin colors of the actors.
We just use the 3D scan as reference because scanning someone is not magic. We go to 3D and start building, sculpting the characters.
To work on the character emotion, I really lingered over the expression, the eyes, the mouth, the same places that we look when we speak to someone. On each one of these parts, we could put the camera very close and see the pores of the skin, see that there is texture on the whites of the eyes. Our ability to provide careful attention to each detail enables the gamer to focus on emotion and on the actor performance.
Nothing's gonna stop me from seeing her.
We produced various effects on characters because they needed to react to all the things they go through. It means underlining their sadness with believable tears when they're in distress.
They're back. They're all around me.
And injuring them when they get into a fight. These elements had to be visible yet subtle in order to avoid caricature. This required close collaboration with the team in charge of lighting in order to correctly highlight these details.
Tell them to leave me the fuck alone, because next time, I'll kill everyone.
In scenes with bad weather, or when the character goes through natural elements like a river, we must find the right balance between what visually happens in the background, what happens to the character, and even sometimes what can be visible on the camera lens, for example, water flowing on the screen.
What was unique is being able to make Jodie evolve. We can follow her through many years, since childhood. We build close to 70 versions of Jodie.
She experiences so many moments that we could make her character very distinctive according to the period of her life. we have to propose a particular and different emotion through each version of Jodie.
So we spend many time with the artist concept and fashion designer to dress, to see how we could change the haircuts of an actor to make him younger or older in a consistent way.
One of the main challenges was to make Jodie look younger. We had very few references, and it was very delicate work because we didn't know if we were getting it right. When we put the trailer online, Ellen came back to us and told us her mother had recognized her at the age of 9. That's the best compliment we can receive as character artists.
Hello, Jodie. Come in.
In Beyond, we follow mainly Jodie and also our close relation, for instance, Dawkins.
I thought it would be a good idea for us to have a little chat, get to know each other a little better.
We can see him growing and reaching maturity. He begins as a laboratory scientist and he finishes by directing a whole department. We wanted to give him a paternalistic side with Jodie, and at the end, an authoritarian aspect. There are more than 300 characters in the game. Once we created a digital double like the one of Ellen or Willem, if others are not as good, we will see it immediately. So there was a considerable effort to bring all the characters of the game at the same level than the main characters.
لك حد انقذتي حياتي لن أنسى فعلك هذا أبدا.
The highlight of Beyond was to go through an epic journey with Jodie spanning 80 different set pieces.
It's slightly different from Heavy Rain. We have a much more huge palette of scene and environments. It could be a Navarro desert, tiny rooms, huge complex. It's hard to manage because we are talking about small and tiny rooms with a huge level of details, and also a kind of open world environments where we need to improve the same level of details.
One of the biggest challenges was to create an open world that we can see in the Navajo sequence. The scenery represents about 2 square kilometers. It's been a joint effort between the vision of David, the technical restrictions, and the artistic vision. Another challenge was to build a section of a city. We did a lot of research on homeless people lived in the United States, and so we worked together to characterize each nook and cranny. I guess we pushed on both our engine and the capabilities of the PS3.
We also make the sequence changing according to the weather.
We moved from a sunny Navajo set to a completely snow-covered homeless set. We can find ourselves in atmospheres totally different, but inside the same sequence. We moved from a daytime environment to a sunset and nighttime environment. This is the same sequence, the same street, but a totally different atmosphere.
The set is rarely in the same state when we begin the sequence and we finish it.
For all our effects, we relied heavily on our internally developed particle system because it allowed us to display a large number of small particles in which we could apply physics-based dynamics. Thanks to this, we've been able to have Jodie escape a collapsing, burning building, while at the same time outside there's a blizzard of about 50,000 flakes.
In Beyond, we speak about Jodie, but also about our connection with an entity. It was a real challenge for us. When we go through an object, we have to foresee the interior of this object. So we had a lot of detail to let the gamer having fun and to make the world around Jodie and Aiden more consistent.
In Beyond, there is an important fantasy element as well that includes creatures, entities, etc. In the beginning, we thought about something quite marine, but with an aquatic creature, it was almost too real. So we changed our idea towards something more polluting, more dark.
Entities don't really have defined shapes, but however, they are very frightening.
Imagining and creating the infraworld was also a great challenge. We had to think of a plausible, aesthetic way of representing what lies beyond. Souls disintegrating and taking shape again, for instance.
Beyond is a very challenging project. Everybody in the team tried to push hard the limits of the PS3 just to be able to recreate this journey in the life of Jodie Holmes.
PlayStation
Every second of movement you see and beyond is motion capture, ranging from simple in-game motions, walking, turning, all the way to stunts, fights, full-person fights on train roofs, to performance capture, to full facial and body capture at the same time.
It's not your call, Aiden. I can do what I want. It is unusual to go in and wear the suit and have these dots on your face, and it's interesting because you're kind of like limited in certain ways, but you're also way more free than when you shoot a movie. I mean, you could kind of do whatever you want.
The games we make at Quantic Dream are based in reality. Everything that actually happens in real life has to happen in our game, and the only practical way to get that is to capture the real thing. We have to rebuild the world out of cardboard and tape and foam. We have to make sure it matches what's in the game, and we have to make sure that we can actually capture with it, because there are limitations to motion capture.
So we have these very strange props that look really miserable, but they respect exactly the dimensions of the real set in 3D and the game, so all the contacts are fine.
We can't use a car door in motion capture because it's shiny and it's really heavy. We can't see through it, so we have to build the approximate of a car door, but it has to at least have some of the real properties of a car door, because just closing a cardboard doesn't play the same as a real car door.
You're in a car, and it's this ridiculous-looking thing made out of 2x4s with a, steering wheel.
I'm a guy that likes to, when I'm going through a casual environment, I like to have my hands in my pocket. Well, your performance capture suit doesn't have pockets. So we created these Velcro straps that became my pockets that I would have something to put my hands in.
It's like pure imagination. Not just the fact that you're, shooting a scene in a submarine. Cool!
I was sure you'd love that.
Or you're getting briefed about this intense mission that you're about to go on in Somalia.
Jamal Sheikh Sharif. Literally, it's like being a 7-year-old with your best friend and you're pretending that the world's gonna end and the bad guys are coming and we have to jump from couch to couch and avoid the lava.
I think that's also what makes it challenging, but also really incredible and like raw.
Everything becomes kind of bare and essential, but also it's sort of disturbing sometimes.
When you're eating in a scene and say we're eating pizza, it's like a little piece of triangle cardboard that, thank God, says pizza on it, or else I would not know what it is.
We built the helicopter where there is this very intense dialogue between Jodie and Clayton. So everything was on wheels and we were moving the helicopter.
Because I trusted you!
Performance capture, it's digital acting. The trickiest part of performance capture is the preparation. It's getting people ready to perform. Depending on how many actors you have, it takes a while to put the 90+ markers on the face. They all have to be placed specifically for them to work right on the rig.
So you have 88 dots, these beads all over your face. Not only that, but you got all these hard ball-like Velcro things all over your body as well. It's gonna pose a little bit of a challenge. I mean,
All these little balls.
oh, fuck! I've got like 10 bruises in my arm.
Everything's very refined because they want to have a vocabulary to play with. So you try to be the material. You try to give them as much as you can.
In our game, we have dozens of hours of animation. Capturing everything demanded an enormous amount of focus of the team to shoot almost every day during 1 year. And then, of course, treating all this data, bringing it to the character in the game.
Nathan?
Jodie, where are you?
Turn back.
The game itself really requires emotion and subtlety, and I think there's no other way to capture all that than the way we're doing it. They rely on each other. We couldn't get this performance without performance capture, and it wouldn't be worth getting unless it was from these people. It's a really great mix of technology and talent.
プレイステーション
Quantic Dream has always been about creating interactive experiences that have emotion at their core. It's about telling the story of characters and giving the player the possibility through their actions to change the way the story unfolds.
When I write my script, I have an idea of how I want the story to be played.
So we try to render David's idea into a game and see with him if it matches what he had in mind. In case it doesn't, we go back to the writing stage and keep working until the result perfectly matches David's vision.
What we try to do in Beyond is really an intuitive and immersive experience. So we created a very discrete user interface with only white dots on screen and very simple controls.
Jody, where are you?
We wanted to revisit the action system and go for something that would be more invisible and more intuitive to the player. We didn't want the interface to be a barrier. We wanted the player to focus on what he's doing on screen and not on how to do it.
Ideally, the player will forget that he has a controller in his hand and will just jump into the screen. One of the major revolutions in Beyond is the way Jodie Holmes moves.
Depending on the context, depending on your emotional state, you see the character of Jodie moving differently, walking differently, looking around differently.
And most importantly, to give the player the feeling he's really in control of the character, he can do almost anything he wants to do.
She can talk to other people, interact with objects, and also run, jump, shoot, drive a motorcycle, or even ride a horse.
What was really challenging also is that the story goes on for 15 years of Jodie's life. When Jodie's a kid, for instance, you can do different things than when she's a teenager or an adult.
Giving this much animation to a character, it's really new. It has never been done to that extent, and it really makes the character come alive like never before.
We wanted to have these new mechanics with Aiden. I wanted to give this feeling of flying around and going through matter and through walls.
So we started making some research on how ghosts would move or even a fish would swim underwater.
We thought that using orbs is an interesting approach. It would give us this physicality that we need to interact with matter.
It became really something natural to assign them to the two analog sticks and have to play with them, to focus them, or on the opposite, to split them apart.
During the process of this production, we made what we call user tests.
You just watch people playing and you see where they succeed, where they fail.
If a player don't get it right, it's only our fault. So we work very hard to be able to correct it and give the best experience possible.
After each user test, it's meeting after meeting just to find a good solution to every single issue the player may have had.
I guess what we're looking for with the gameplay is really to find an interface that will allow you to play live. And we try to get closer and closer of the ideal interface where you don't think anymore, you just do it.
PlayStation
がきに渡り闇に包まれ煮えたぎる怒りに耐え今時は満ちた。千年もの間闇の中をさまよい続けた。この闇より出る時がついに来たのだ。今日この闇のザタムの怒りがついに放たれる。我が怒りはかの大国アラジール帝国さえも灰と化し、世界は混沌と闇に包まれ恐怖と絶望で震え上がるだろう。私に歯向かった愚かな者どもよ、その命尽きるまで我が報いを受け永遠の地獄を味わえ。タホールの7つの印象、ラスタダンの5区、この世に来たれアスタロス、偉大なる悪の化身よ、古の神々の聖なる力、ハスモダンの精霊たちよ、そして大いなるバチタもバチタアクソン。いっつもここが言えないんだ。
ファジタマラービー。
ああ、もうここまで出かかってたのに。本当だ、待ってくれ。本当申し訳ない。
いいんです、もう一回撮りましょう。
おい、あんたいい演技だったな。マジでちびりそうだったぜ。
ちょっといいかな。台本について聞きたいことが。そう、複雑なキャラクターだからしっかり理解した上で演技に落とし込みたいんだよ。それでやはり彼のこの煮えたぎる怒りというのはそのナルシスト的な。
さっきの感じでいいですよ。よしみんな、それじゃあもう一回やってみようか。同じところから。
いや、モーリスだ。
ああ、
どうも
デビッドだ。
よろしくね。
デビッド・ギャント。
ゲームは初めてか。
ああ、
地獄へようこそ。
よし、そろそろ行こうか。
ああ、ところで悪いんだが火の効果を弱めてもらえるかね。さっきは近すぎて危なかったんだ。無駄な事故は起こしたくないんでね。
ああ、伝えておきます、よし、みんな静かに。本番よーいアクション。
タホールの7つの印象、ラスタダンの5区、この世に来たれ地獄の冥王アスタロス、
古の神々の聖なる力、アスモダンの精霊たち。
カット。ごめん、音響に問題があったみたいだ。
やっぱり何か変だと思った。
とりあえず音響抜きでもう一回行きましょう。
まあいいね、ぜひともそうしてくれ。
小道具の調子も変だな。
あんたの前にその役やってたのが2人いて、そう1人目は本が顔面直撃バーンって大怪我しちゃった。2人目は杖がほらそのあそこに。早くバグ直さないと。
なんだか暑いな。マスクなんかして君暑くないか。
マスク？何が？
よし、もう一度行こう。よーいアクション。
タホールの7つの印象、ラスタダンの5区、この世に来たれ。ああ、なんだこりゃ。
カット。誰かプログラマー呼んでくれ。
まあまあデイブ、心配すんな。前のバグの名残だ。クローンが2984体出現。誰の？俺。見ろよ、セクシーだろほら。ああ、いいね。気にすんなな。
電話いいか、とにかく何でもいいからこのトロールどもを消してくれ。すぐに。
ちょっとゴブリンだよ。いい？トロールじゃない、ゴブリンだ。分かってねえな。前回はビール1ケースも持ってきてハメ外したけど楽しかったぜ。マジで最高。
オッケー、いいぞ、消えた。
ふういた方が断然盛り上がったのにな。そう言うならしょうがない。ここの連中センスがないからな。
なあ、悪いがちょっと電話を借りてもいいかな。
ああ、いいよ。でもあんまり使いすぎるなよ。
ウィリアムか。ああ、そう、デビッドだ。 ああ、今セットにいる。なあ、ゲームの仕事してる連中ってなんだかおかしくないか？ああ、いやいや、いろいろおかしなことが思ってた感じと違ってて少し説明がしづらいんだが、ただ本当にこの仕事をやるべきかと思う。俺は契約書にサインはしたが、でもなんというか、他にも仕事なんて、
おいおい、
まあ
デーブ切れよ。
いや、
おい
確か
デー
に
ブ切れってば。
気にしすぎかもしれんな。ああ、もういい、大丈夫だ。ああ、また後で。
揉め事？
何？いや、問題ない。何も。
オッケー、始めよう。じゃあもう一回同じところからで、よーいアクション。
冥王アスタロスよ、今こそそなたの邪悪なる軍団を引き連れ我が
燃えて
いや、やっちゃった。ごめんごめん。そうそうそう。あの有名歌手も同じ目にあったって知ってる？やったじゃん。これであんたも伝説だ。
言ったはずだぞ。火を使う特殊効果にはくれぐれも気をつけろって。
ほんとすみません、こんなこと初めてで。
それでこの次はどこをやるんだ？
もう一回同じところから行ってもいいですかね？
よし、やろ
う。オーケー、それじゃあみんな静かに。よーいアクション。
偉大なアスタロス、復讐を果たす時が来た。地獄の王よ、闇から今いでよ。
ここで入っちゃいけなかった？
勘弁してくれ。これは一体どうなってるんだ？
悪魔さん、入るのはそこでいいんだけどさ、流れ的に地獄の門から出てきてよ。
地獄の門ね。あら、もうやだ。私ってバカね。もう悪い子悪い子。じゃあもう一回やった方がいいわよね。
頼む、そうしてくれ。
本当にごめんなさい。通して
オッケー、もう一回呪文から全部取ろうか。準備もバッチリだし。
呪文を全部？さっき取ったじゃないか。
すみません、次こそ大丈夫ですよ。よしみんな、次のテイクが本番だぞ。よーいアクション。
タフォールの7つの印象、ラスタダンの
この世に来たれアスタロス、偉大なる悪の化身よ。古の神々の聖なる力、ハスモダンの精霊たち、そして大いなるハチタマラービの将キクが
地獄の王よ、闇から今いでよ。我が輩を呼んだのは貴様か。望みは何だ？
やだ、今のすっげえ痛そう。おい、火から離れて。デブ、じっとして。
離れろ。お前ら私に触るんじゃない。イカれてる。お前たち全員イカれてる。もうやめてやる。私の頭がおかしくなる前にな。私は帰る。せいぜい私抜きで頑張るんだな。
ちょっと待ってくださいよデビッドさん、あなたがいないとストーリーが。
そんなこと私の知ったことか。ゲームなんてもうたくさんだ。
わお、
あらまあ、
マジ？
くそ、どうしよう。何かいいアイデアないか？
どうしろってんだ？いいか、魔術師なしじゃストーリーも成り立たないしだろ。
でも成り立ってなかったけど、正直。
何？
じゃあ
いや
それで
ダメだダメだダメ。
あら、いいでしょ。
いやダメ、絶対嫌だ。俺はやらない。いい、やめろ。
決まりだ。フレッド、これでいこう。
この世に来たれアスタロス、偉大なる悪の化身よ。
シクロだ。
地獄の王よ、闇から今いでよ。我が輩を呼んだのは貴様か。望みは何
ザタ
ム何。
お前の好き放題にさせるとでも思ったか。おい、
やっぱり何か変だと思った。
お前はただの駒に過ぎない闇の魔術師よ。今こそお前を深い闇に再び送り戻してくれよ。
勘弁してくれ。これは一体どうなってるんだ。うわ
アスタロスよ、今日からお前は我がしもべになるのだ。人間どもよ、よーく見ておけ。今こそこのゴブリン様が世界を支配するのだ。くそ、タバコやめなきゃ。